Hello, thank you for taking a moment to watch this video. And on this training, we're going to be talking about the dispositions. You see all these buttons across the bottom of the screen? These are referred to as dispositions. You have what are called the dialing set and the live answer set. These are two different types of buttons that you and your organization will be able to click on as you're making calls through PhoneBurner. And you get complete control over these dispositions, over these buttons. You can create as many buttons as you want or need within your PhoneBurner account. Now, if you're using PhoneBurner as part of an organization where multiple people are going to be dialing using PhoneBurner, then I would recommend that you standardize the dispositions across the entire organization. That'll make things a lot easier for you as we get into some of the other configuration options like building out workflow rules. But how do you create and customize these dispositions? That's what I'm going to show you on this training. Let's go over to our PhoneBurner account. And when we're logged into PhoneBurner, we're going to click on the settings menu in the upper right-hand corner. We're going to go to dial session settings, and we're going to click on dispositions. This is where we go to manage our dispositions. Now, I mentioned it earlier, but we have two types of dispositions, the dialing set and the live answer set. Now, the dialing set is the first set of buttons that pops up at the start of any dial session. And the live answer set is a set of buttons that only shows up after a live conversation. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on how to customize every individual disposition and what you should do there. There's a lot of training. If you click here, you can go to the Agent Quick Start or the Admin Quick Start or watch the overview video of this. Lots of training available, so I'm not going to go through all of that. But I do want to talk about a few key elements to any disposition that you create. So let's just take our dialing set, for example. Let's edit this. And let's take any one of these buttons. In this particular case, I'm going to take the voicemail button. Let's edit this. Now the label, that's what you actually see when you're making calls. The status, this is important because this is what gets posted back to Zoho. We'll talk about that here in a minute. The note also gets posted back as part of the notes in Zoho. The voicemail, in most cases, you'll leave this set to dial session default, but you do have the ability to assign a specific audio file to any particular voicemail button. The one-touch email option allows you to assign an email to a disposition so that not only are you setting the outcome of the call, but you can trigger an email to be sent at the same time. Now, transfer to user, move to folder, those are irrelevant when you're talking about the integration with Zoho. This is all stuff that you have to handle in Zoho, so you can ignore those. Next action, this is only relevant if your contacts have multiple phone numbers. Tags, this is another thing that's really irrelevant for your integration with Zoho. Do not call, however, is important. If you're creating a disposition and the outcome of that disposition is, hey, this person doesn't want to receive any more phone calls, you may want to configure that specific button to add the phone number to your DNC list or add the entire record to your DNC list so that you or anybody on your team will no longer call any of the phone numbers related to that contact. Now, deleting a contact is irrelevant because we cannot delete records in Zoho. Delete, another one that's irrelevant. We're not going to be deleting the phone number on the Zoho side. Connected call is important for reporting. Do we want to count any call that has this result as a connected call? You can set that to yes or no, depending on the disposition or button you're customizing. Webhook, you should leave this empty. If you add anything to the webhook option, it will break the integration back to Zoho. We will not be able to send the information, the updates to the contact record or log the call in Zoho if you add anything in here. So that must remain empty. Follow-up, really not that relevant because this is related to our contact manager and doesn't flow back into the Zoho CRM in any way. Contact rating, same thing. So in review, connected call, yes. DNC, yes. Next action, yes. One-touch email, voicemail, note, and call status. All important things to consider when you're configuring a disposition or button within your PhoneBurner account. The button label, not vital, but is important because that is what you and your team will see when you're making calls so that you know what that button should be doing. Typically, I will set the button label and the call status to be the same, but not always. As you can see here, I've got voicemail/email indicating that I'm leaving a voicemail, and I've also got this one configured to send an email. Now let's go back to our main dispositions page. Now, if you're part of a team, I'm hoping that you watched the video that talked about network versus standalone. If you are networked, then your dispositions should be shared for your team automatically. However, if you're standalone, make sure that you share the dispositions, the buttons that you create with your organization, so that everybody is using a standard set of buttons. If everybody creates their own buttons, then you've got different information flowing back into Zoho, and it'll make it a lot harder for you to create automation as well as run the types of reporting that you'd want to run in Zoho. So now that we have a quick little overview of it, let's see what happens when we disposition a call. Let's go to Shadowcat here, and let's mark Shadowcat as interested. I'm going to go ahead and pause the session. Let's go back to our contacts here. Let's find Shadowcat, probably somewhere down here at the bottom or something. There it is. And if we take a look at the details of that record, you'll see after every call, a note is logged based off of any notes that are added during a dial session, as well as an activity is logged based off the disposition that was clicked on. It tells us the length of the call, 8 minutes and 29 seconds. Call was interested, date and time that happened. So when you're customizing your dispositions, it's important for you that you're creating statuses that will make sense for the activities that will be logged back in Zoho. So that's it. That's an overview of how you can customize your dispositions, what things you should care about when customizing your dispositions, and how those dispositions will post information back to Zoho after each call. So thanks for taking a moment to watch this video, and happy dialing.